And bam!
Oh, we're live.
Philip Zave. That is the first time I've officially used your full name because I always call you Philip Worldwide. That's a story for another time and for another part of the world. But dude, welcome to this interview.
Thank you so much for having me, Blake. I'm clearly speechless.
Well, this is going to be fun because this is going to serve as a look back, and it's a unique conversation because we're going to look back
Maybe
on a moment, on a memory, on an experience. And here's why I was even excited to have this conversation today. Because I remember back in the day, I saw you starting to put things on Facebook about how you were going to sell one of your framed photographs.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, whatever. You're a photographer, so makes sense. Except you said you were going to sell one of your framed photographs for $10 million. And I went, whoa, hello, Facebook. And it was so inspiring. I remember just getting chills when I read it because I know you, I've worked with you, I'm inspired by who you are, what you're about, and how you roll in this world. I was just super struck by that. I'm like, whoa. And then I kept seeing more and more posts. I saw videos and written posts and people engaging with it. And you were showing up in a bigger way. You were speaking with this certainty and devotion. And you're an artist. You're like a walking beacon of art. But there was just something different about the way in which you were communicating and articulating yourself around this. So before we get into the specifics of it all, take me back to that place when you began putting those kinds of posts up. Where did this all begin?
Oh my gosh. Where did it begin?
Yeah.
I find that as an artist, it's very hard to distill beginnings because every moment is a beginning and an ending. And so where did it begin? Well, to be completely honest, $10 million was a number that was channeled through me. And I have been channeling poetry, numbers, ideas, thoughts from very young age, at least 13, but probably much younger. And when I say channeling, like, there's a little bit of a woo factor to that, right? Like a woo, like what's this?
I'm into it.
Channeling, right? But what I mean is like, let's say like, I wasn't given an assignment in school to write the poetry that I wrote when I was younger. It just is something that I felt, and then I began writing, and it just came out of me. Like, it wasn't something I was thinking, I'm going to write poetry. It was very much just, I felt it, and then I let it out. I let it onto paper, or I let it out onto the computer. And so that's kind of what I mean when I say channeling. It came to me, and I didn't decide to create it. It just was created within me, and I didn't deny it. And so, yes, $10 million, it was channeled to me, and I looked it up. Turns out there's no photo on Earth that's been sold for $10 million. So it is the most valuable photo on this planet.
How did you, when receiving that, how did you not just judge it and judge it and judge it and judge it and judge it away to the point that, well, it just never left your own mind? Like, how did it go from the channeled message to actually be shared? Because, man, there's like a lot of layers to get it out to the internet and into the world and go through the flaming hoops of judgment and just second guessing and just those inner critics.
Well, something that I've been really exploring as an independent artist and a business owner is, how is value determined, right? Because what I did when I first started a photography business was I determined my value based on what I saw other photographers of a similar quality, in my opinion, charging. Okay.
Yep.
And what I learned is that is a losing game. And what I mean by that is then you are in a pool of hundreds of photographers who
Right.
have a similar quality to you, in
Yeah.
your opinion, and they're all charging the same thing. So then how could somebody make a decision about which photographer to work with, right? And what I noticed is that usually they would make the decision of who was willing to cut their price the cheapest. And
Hmm.
so what it became for me, and for a lot of people in the photography community, especially newer photographers, is a race to the bottom.
Hmm.
And I feel that has occurred with a lot of people who have art in their heart,
Hmm.
who consider themselves to be artists, is
Yeah.
they are on this race to the bottom because they're terrified of distinguishing what they're
Hmm.
doing and going outside of the world of what we think is possible, of what we think is normal, right? And I, after a few years of being in business as a photographer, I realized that I kind of had to make a decision. Either I had to give up the dream of being an artist, or I had to find a way to make not just a little bit more money, but way more money. Because
Yeah.
guess what? Our society is becoming really expensive, and it is pricing out people left, right, and center who aren't able to value themselves.
Right.
And I not only want that shifting of the heart to occur for myself, I also think it's needed to occur for other people, especially artists, because I think we need artists now more than ever. And so that's kind of what the whole project is about. And that's what's driving it forward in a way
Hmm.
that that it's unstoppable.
You put up some posts back in the day when this all got going, and I witnessed when it went into the practical side. I remember seeing a post where you're like, I I need to ready myself to receive this payment. So from a practical point of view, I remember you put up a post about like needing to get organized differently as a business owner so that the payment could even
Yeah.
be received. Because you can't
Yeah.
just be like, hey, I don't know, just e-transfer me 10
Yeah.
mil.
$10
Like
million dollars. Yeah.
that's a
You actually
different setup.
like, you can't even do that.
Right. That would be like years of $2,000 transfers.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Like,
I remember seeing the practical side of things where you had to like ready yourself for this actual transaction when you sold one of your framed photographs for $10 million. But what were some of the conversations before you sold it that people had with you? Maybe it was people who were cheering you on or questioning you or making fun of you. Like, what were some 3, 4 examples of those conversations before the sale you were in?
so what I just heard there was kind of two questions. And so
Take one
I'll
or both.
quickly answer the first one, which is
Okay.
I decided I decided that I will be selling my photograph for $10 million. And so one of the natural questions is, how does one make a $10 million sale? And
Right.
if you want to make a $10 million sale smartly, then you need to be a corporation. Because if you are what I was before, which is a sole proprietor, then you're taxed way differently, and it's much harder to disperse that money the way it needs to go, and to actually keep a lot of that money and share it in the way that it's meant to be shared. And then it
Right.
also has impacts for the people who are purchasing the photo. So
Mm.
I set up a corporation. The corporation is called WOM, which stands for, initially it stood for word of mouth marketing, which is the thing that I'm the best at, which is
Mhm.
getting the word out. about something by having people talk about it, because it was such a wonderful thing. I helped many businesses grow doing that. And I actually had a conversation with my dad about how I'm a memory maker. And he said, maybe it also stands for World of Memory Makers, which I like even more. So it
Yeah.
stands for both World of Memory Makers, because that is what we all are.
Yeah.
Okay, so I created this corporation. One little other side note about that. My sister has a business called World of My Baby, which is the womb.
Womb.
And so the fact that my sister has this corporation called the Womb and I have this corporation called the WOM, I think it's absolutely hilarious. And it
Cool.
really motivated me to do the paperwork to get a corporation started. For me, humor is such a big driving force.
And the fact that this came through channeling, which is kind of like on a whim. So we got the whim, the wom, the womb.
I love
Nice.
that. And so then people's reactions, the conversations that occurred. I am unbelievably grateful to have spent years of my life cultivating a community of kindness, which is people in my life who treat me and my work and my visions with like huge love and respect and care in their heart, and they feel them. People felt that initial video that I created where I announced that I would be selling the photo for $10 million. You felt it, Blake, and you're sharing that today with me. And people felt it because I spent years cultivating kindness. I believe in kindness towards everything and everyone, no matter how they behave, because I think, how are we possibly going to find kindness in the world unless we are the source of it? And so if we're seeing the lack of kindness and we're not being the source of it, then we are letting the buck stop there of kindness. And so it's our job to be kind if that's what we want to be seeing, which is what I want to be seeing. And guess what? I received hundreds of personal messages and from people cheering me on, people I haven't spoke to in years, people so curious, people wanting to come to the event, the exclusive event where I was going to reveal the photograph, because a big part of this project is the mystery. I was not sharing what the photograph was until the event, the official reveal.
Right.
Yeah, and of course I got a few haters, but nothing more than just kind of this sounds silly kind of comment. Nothing really like mean.
This is so amazing. I love this walk down memory lane, because for the next part of this, we're going to go sort of multiple choice, and you can intuitively decide where you would like to take the conversation, because we've spoken about the lead up, and now you choose to either share a little bit about the sale itself, like telling that story, or after the sale of the $10 million framed photograph that you took as one of your photographs. So do you want to talk about the sale itself, or just the aftermath once it was complete and done and wow, you were on the other side of, hey, we did it? Which one resonates?
A big part of this project is actually about openness, vulnerability, and not hiding behind anything. And so I'd love to share with you a little bit about how the sausage was made, how I actually created this sale. Because
do it.
Because that process, I decided, was going to be art. The entire thing, from creating the corporation to creating the contract, creating the website, creating tickets for the event, announcing the event publicly, which happened on January 8th at a public event in Yorkville.
2022.
January 8th, 2022. That's where the event was announced publicly at a physical event outside in Yorkville. Okay, so it's all going to be created as art. Okay,
I love that.
And culminating in the March 3rd selling of the photograph. Okay, so the March 3rd event, I'm really going to focus right now on the March 3rd event because that was where I actually sold the photograph.
March
The
3rd,
March 3rd event,
2022.
March 3rd, 2022. Correct. The March
Yeah.
3rd event was created for people in Toronto or who care about Toronto that are a part of the class of people that created Toronto. So the class of people who really made this city possible, right? And often these days, we really are hating on people who have an abundance of wealth and who have created big businesses and have created massive change in society. We're really hating on them. And this project is willing to offer that maybe these people are dying for the opportunity to give back, dying for the opportunity to have a profound, heart-filled, artful experience. And so that's kind of the notion of the March 3rd event. The March 3rd event had 25 tickets available. So a very exclusive, small event. Each ticket admitted 2 guests. So the ticket holder and they bring a guest, and they don't get in unless they bring a guest. This is about connecting. This whole event is about connecting, right?
Yeah.
So 2 guests for each of the 25 ticket holders, and the tickets cost $100,000. Okay. And so that's $2.5 million. And all of the profit from those ticket sales are going directly into the hands of emerging artists and arts initiatives in this city that are notoriously underfunded because we focus on funding either projects that will bring us a huge financial return or projects that will that are obviously transformative versus artistic projects that are spiritually and transformative in ways that we can't quantify as easily. And so they are often forgotten about. That's what I've noticed in so many of the artists that I've met. And so since I've spent the last 10 years making it my business to know who these artists are, this money is going directly into their hands, all of the ticket sale profit. Okay. And so the event itself, and so even just buying a ticket to this event, you are transforming the emerging arts, not just in Toronto, but in the world, because this project is known about, at this point, I'm sure you know, all over the world, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So then the event itself. Each of the 2 guests that is a ticket holder is partnered with one of the emerging artists that I'm talking about. So there's a group of 3 of them, the 2 guests and an emerging artist who are walking them through the entire experience of the evening. It's not like you're walking into a gallery with your guests. You have no idea what to do. You're kind of uncomfortable and then you leave.
Right.
It's like, this is a theatrical, amazing, transformative experience. The whole premise of the March 3rd event is that it is a $10 million experience for your heart. Rather than just for your pocketbooks. It's a $10 million experience for your heart, for your soul, for an activated human spirit. And that was what the event was. So much so that one of the people in the room couldn't resist purchasing the photo for $10 million as a metaphorical, poetic gesture of the power of this kind of work.
The amount of thought, not even thought like, oh, Philip clearly did a mind map about this back in the day. Just like the head to toe level of care, devotion, and curation is spectacular. It's wild and not surprising knowing who you are and how
Thank you,
you
Blake.
operate.
Wow.
So tell us then about the event itself or the aftermath of that event.
Absolutely. Well, the event was spectacular. I'm sure you can imagine. It was at a mystery location in Yorkville, a grand location that is not traditionally a gallery. The whole point of this project is stepping outside of the world of what we're doing. It's about making places that aren't things into things. It's about creation, right? Which is art. It's about creating artists. Every single person in my mind, whether they know it or not, is an artist. And all that it takes to be that artist is to have that part of themselves unlocked. Okay. And so, while that event was incredible, what was really incredible was actually the public event that happened on January 8th, 2022. And I'd love to share a little bit about that event.
Bring it on.
Because that event was the official public launch of the March 3rd event. So that opening it out to the world, right? It occurred right next to the Yorkville Rock. I don't know if have you been to Yorkville?
I
There's a
used to run
massive
events
rock,
by that rock,
which is really cool, right? There's a massive rock in the middle of Yorkville. Yorkville actually used to be akin to Kensington Market. It used to be an arts and culture hub of the city where people in their teens and 20s used to go to live music and really kind of party, and it was a very like hippie kind of in the 60s, 70s, you know, in that era when you know like that kind of poetry culture like was booming. That's what Yorkville was, and it's amazing how it transformed from that into being the most exclusive and expensive neighborhood in Toronto. Because I think that's what art creates, which is it creates lots of commerce. Great art creates a pathway to lots of commerce. Great, beautiful commerce. Okay, so in Yorkville. So what we did was we had a public rebirthing ceremony. The rebirthing ceremony was open to anybody passing by, and to invite them in, we handed them peppermint and rose tea to come and enjoy an hour-long experience. It occurred from 3:03 p.m. to 4:04 p.m., and it had unbelievable talent performing for everybody who was there. So there was live music, live original folk music by this unbelievably talented up-and-coming musician named Alex McCullough. There was live storytelling by
Soft G.
Micah Edwards, who is a powerhouse winner of Speaker Slam multiple times, absolute powerhouse storyteller, so moving, and a huge advocate for LGBTQ and BIPOC communities. There was breath work done by Carrie Schaefer. There was just so many creative artists leading this event, and then a monologue delivered by myself where at the end of the monologue, I officially announced that this event was on and happening, and the ticket sales went live at 4:04 p.m.
I remember all this. So I love hearing it through your experience of it, because I remember it for me by seeing posts and hearing stories and the media. So it's amazing to get the Philip reflection. All right, now we've got about 5 or 10 minutes left together in this conversation. What are you most excited to share and document in this conversation as we bring it in for a landing? Because, I mean, I just was so struck by this when I first saw you posting about the idea, and now it's all been done. So how do you want to close this out? Because the floor is yours, and this is a sweet digital souvenir for the ages.
Well, I have to say that my heart, Blake, is so full. And after 2 years of an extraordinarily painful moment of human history, what could we be looking for more than full hearts, right? And my heart is full, and not just my heart is full, it's overflowing. And And this project, it has nothing to do, I'm not sure if you can tell yet, but it has nothing to do with money. Just the way that, maybe a book that you're reading has nothing to do with what you think it's about, right? Or a
Yeah.
poem. It's really about something deeper. And it's about bringing the heartbeat back to money. Right now, money, in my opinion, is having a bit of an aortic aneurysm. Like it feels as though we've gone off the wall with wealth disparity and with challenges in our society where people are working their whole lives in debt and never actually feeling even close to thriving, even though we have all of our basic needs taken care of in places like Toronto. And this project is really about reactivating our human spirit. And I'm so, so grateful to be a part of that work, because when we go through a lot of pain, it's very hard to look at ourselves in the mirror. What we see is just pain. For many of us, I've been there, where all I see in the mirror is pain. And what I love about art is it offers us the opportunity to create an abstraction of our pain. Instead of saying, I'm in pain because, somebody close to me just died, you can take out a pen and you can just draw your feelings, and it doesn't have to be so literal. You can move your body. You can be shared ways to express and move your bodies in a way that allow you to release some of that pain. You can create a piece of music that doesn't even have to be a beautiful piece of music. It can just be you, again, releasing some of that pain. Art gives us the opportunity to abstractly release some of our pain. And from there, then what becomes possible? Then maybe we can address it a little bit more specifically. Maybe it cannot control our lives. Maybe we can become free from it. Maybe we can become thriving and connected and excited about our lives and our environments and building a future that we're not terrified of.
Yeah.
And that's what this project is about. That's what it's about. And it might sound crazy that some random unknown artist in Toronto thinks selling his frame photograph for $10 million is about all of these things. But maybe it's the opposite of strange. Maybe that makes the most sense.
And it's incredibly, and was incredibly accessible for people because it was such an outlier. There was no crowd around the concept. There was only a crowd around the experience. And so I just remember it was so singular and beautiful. And that's why we're talking about it today. So, dude, it's been a joy to do a little bit of a look back with you. And I don't even know what's up your sleeve for the future, but that doesn't matter right now. And for whatever point in time people stumble upon this interview, what is one link on the World Wide Web you'd love them to know about so they can learn more about the world of Philip Zave?
Okay, one link? Well,
or multiple. Just where would you love people to learn more about
first of all,
your
if you
world?
want to learn about this project and you want to buy tickets, or you want to learn about what that process is like, you can go to www.thewomm.com. Okay. That website launches officially on January 8th, 2022. Okay. So you can go there, www.thewomm.com. If you want to learn about the artwork I'm creating in this world, my name is right there. Philip Zave. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. And lastly, if you're on TikTok, you can follow the daily diary of this project. That's at $10 million project. I think that's what it is. Let me just quickly double check because I want to direct people to the right place.
Scanning the TikTok machines.
Scanning. So it's at $10 million project.
10 the
right
number,
now,
10 the
and
word.
then this project is being dedicated to the number 8, which if you turn it on its side is infinity. And right now there are currently, I don't know, you can't see it. Maybe it's coming up. Maybe it's coming up. There are 8 followers and 88 likes. So
whoa,
this project is
buddy.
a major alignment.
Dude.
And I can't wait for everybody to learn about this thing.
Did you know that about the 8 and 88 on the account, or you just noticed that in this moment?
Well, like, I just noticed that in this moment because it could have changed since I last looked.
Right.
This project is in major alignment.
So we recorded that count of the TikTok account. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, Philip. Amazing to hear this story. Amazing to have been a part of it from the beginning. And cheers to what's next.
Cheers, Blake. You have a cup?
Wait. Oh, I don't have a cup, but
you have something that looks like a cup?
I got this. Let's do a
All
cheers.
Right. Here we go. 3,
1, 2, 3.
1. Boom.
Nailed it. All right, Philip. Until next time.
Massively grateful for you, Blake.